with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let us remain standing and take a moment of silence for our servicemen and women serving our country here and abroad. And also, on this special meeting tonight, let us remember our first responders, our police officers here in the village of Suffern. Thank you. You may have a seat.
Yeah, just for a minute.
Go ahead.
She's got to fix up. Just
Okay.
give her a minute. We're sorry. We're loving you. Take your time. Okay? Yeah. All right.
No.
Okay, Mayor.
Okay. Welcome to the village board meeting. Today is June 4th. The next village board workshop meeting will be Tuesday, June 26th at 7 p.m. The next village board meeting will be Monday, July 2nd at 7 p.m. And keep in mind, there will be no village board workshop meetings for the month of July and August. At this time, this is a special day here in the village of Suffern. I will be appointing Miss Gina Bertolino to the village board. Gina has lived in the village of Suffern since her youth. She moved here with her parents from New York City to Sloatsburg, and then Gina moved down into the village of Suffern. Gina is a graduate from Suffern Middle School and Suffern High School. She also went to Rockland County's Capri Cosmetology Learning Center to attain her accreditation in New York State licensed cosmetology. In 1991, Gina established Mystic Images Salon in the heart of downtown Suffern, where she has served our community for over 27 years. Gina and her husband Joe have 2 sons that are graduates of the Suffern Central School District. Even in the most active years of motherhood, combined with being a business owner, Gina found time to give back to Suffern in abundance. Gina and her staff at Mystic Images Salon have been ardent participants and promoters for the long-standing Suffern Street Fairs. And in 2009, as a co-sponsor, Gina established the annual Mystic Images Makeover Fashion Show for breast cancer awareness as a way of giving back to the village of Suffern and to breast cancer survivors. Gina is a former member of the Suffern Rotary, and within the Rotary, she served on Meals on Wheels and as social media chair. Gina is current and a long-standing member of the Suffern Chamber of Commerce and is now serving on the board of directors. Gina will be an amazing addition to the board of the Suffern Board of Trustees and is uniquely qualified to add a perspective to the Suffern Business District. And Gina will also move our village forward by continuing her active role that she is playing in revitalizing the village of Suffern and economic development and making Suffern the greatest place to live, work, and raise a family. So at this time, I'd like to bring up Miss Gina Bertolino. So as Mayor Markunas hereby appoints Gina Bertolino as trustee for the village of Suffern for the balance of the remaining term to the vacant position until reorganization to the first Monday in December of 2018.
Do we have a motion?
No, we have to have a motion.
We don't have to, but it's nice.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes. Maybe you want to have your husband come up. Your family?
Support
Constitution of the State of New York.
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
And I will faithfully discharge my duty as a village trustee of the village of Suffern.
and I will say that again.
I will faithfully discharge my duties
I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a village trustee of the village of Suffern.
as a village trustee of the village of Suffern.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Everybody smile.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome aboard there, Miss Bertolino.
And don't be intimidated by the 4.5-page agenda. It's never like this. Don't worry about it.
Okay, next up, we have the appointment and swearing-in ceremony for Nicholas Coswell as police officer full-time. Chief Osborne, Officer Coswell.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Board. It's always a special moment for our department swearing in a new officer. Our new officer, we're very proud to have Nick with us. Nick is a Village of Suffern resident, put himself through the police academy, did an excellent job in the police academy. I had the pleasure of teaching Nick in the academy and working with him in his academy recruits. Nick is also a veteran of the U.S. Army 69th Infantry Regiment, and we're very proud to have you with us, Nick. You've already been here a couple weeks working with us, and we got some of his training officers here. You're doing a fantastic job, Nick. And you know how we handle our police department like a family, and we welcome you to the family. And what I'd like to do now is I'd like to call up Nick's brother Mike and his family who's with him tonight. So please come on up here and join us as we formally swear Nick in tonight. Mayor Markunas, if you could please help us with this, it would be great.
Sure will. So in front of me, I have a resolution authorizing the appointment of Nicholas Coswell as police officer full-time. Be resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Suffern hereby appoints Nicholas Coswell from list number 16097, dated May 4th, 2018, to the position of police officer. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to authorize the appointment of Nick Carswell as police officer full-time for the Village of Suffern.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We will have the village clerk come down and swear in Officer Coswell. Is that okay, Chief?
Absolutely, thank you, Mayor Virginia. Would you like to come down here while they're down here, or do you want us to come up on the stage?
Wherever you want.
You all guys okay right there? It's probably easiest than moving everybody up. Okay, great, thank you. Nick is going to be sworn in by Virginia, our village clerk. Mayor Markunas can oversee it, and he's going to be paid by his brother Mike. Nick, congratulations. And Mike, if you don't mind, after Virginia swear in. Call you, Virginia, thank you.
Good. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I say your names. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of New York. I will faithfully discharge my duty as a police officer of the Village of Suffern. So help me God. Congratulations.
take some pictures, or Mayor, you want to take a picture?
You got tomorrow, sure, this one.
Yeah, we'll take a picture. Let the family take a picture there. Get in there.
You took it?
You know, here in the village of Suffern, it's great to see a police force that is totally, fully in support of the village and village activities and keeping our village safe. We truly appreciate it, guys. Just keep up the good work. I'm sure you will. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I'm gonna let it go.
You got it. Nick, you might be one for picture. That's the one.
He's going. Yeah. But it's not moving.
Okay, so one was just a swearing in ceremony, one was the 25th anniversary. Yeah. Okay.
Kathy?
Thank you, thank you.
Kathy? You got a picture, right?
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Greatly appreciate it. And the Caswell family, congratulations.
I don't know, I gotta look at the agenda.
Mayor, I just have a couple more things on the agenda. If it's okay to just finish them off while I'm up here.
Go ahead.
Okay, the first, we have some openings in our part-time positions. These are not added positions, we're actually one less position than we've had in the past, when you look at the part-time dispatchers and officers. And I would like to nominate the first officer, filing as a part-time Suffern police officer of the Rockland County Village of Suffern Civil Service list. Will be if Tara can stand up. This is Tara Cable. Tara is a lifelong village resident, RP County School graduate. She put herself to the police academy and is currently a part-time officer with the Rockland County Sheriff's Department. I asked the mayor and board to nominate her for a part-time police officer position pending clearance from the Rockland County Department of Personnel.
Okay, before me, I have a resolution authorizing the nominating certification of Tara Cable as police officer part-time. Be resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Suffern certifies the nomination of Tara Cable from list number 16097 dated April 19, 2018 to the position of police officer part-time pending approval of Rockland County personnel. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to authorize the nomination of police officer Tara Cable to the position of part-time police officer pending clearance from Rockland County personnel.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Congratulations, Tara. Congrats.
We're getting some female cops.
The second officer I'd like to nominate is Laura Gannon. Laura, if you could please stand up. Laura is a police officer in the town of Wallkill, Village of Suffern resident as well. And Laura is also on our civil service list, so we are asking the Board of Trustees to nominate Laura Gannon to the position of part-time police officer pending clearance from the Rockland County Department of Personnel.
So I have the resolution in front of me authorizing the nomination certification of Laura Gannon as police officer part-time. Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Suffern certifies the nomination of Laura Gannon from list number 16097 dated April 19, 2018 to the position of police officer part-time pending approval of Rockland County personnel. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to authorize the nomination of police officer Laura Gannon to the position of police officer part-time pending clearance from Rockland County personnel.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes.
Congratulations, Laura. Thank you. I would now like to introduce our third police officer to be nominated tonight, and it's Michael Corletta. Michael is a lifelong Village of Suffern resident, RP Connor School graduate, was a dare officer, as I was with Talent, and Mike worked as a parking agent for us for several years here. Did an excellent job. Mike is also an Army veteran. He also put himself through the police academy at no cost to the village. He is also a police officer part-time in the town of Walker, so I proudly recommend Mike Corletta for the position of part-time police officer pending clearance from the Rockland County Department of Personnel.
Okay, I have a resolution authorizing and nominating certification of Michael Corlater as police officer. Be resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Suffern certifies the nomination of the Michael Corlater from list number 16097, dated April 19th, to the position of police officer part-time pending approval of Rockland County personnel. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you, Michael.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Michael.
Maybe somebody from the office will be sworn in tomorrow.
We also have to introduce some of our officers. We have Jeremy, a dispatcher, of course, we know one and only Joe Hunt. We have Andrew York, Lou Venturini, Lieutenant John Mallon, and I just want to thank really all of you for these nominations to fill these positions, which we need. Thank you for everything. I just have a couple more updates for the board before I walk these officers out. In the month of May, we had 620 police calls and blotters, 34 arrests, and our vehicle and traffic enforcement is up since from January of 2017 to this time. We are up about 30% over last year, so the officers doing a great job out there. We had a barbecue at the Memorial Day Parade, which we worked with Kath and everybody on, and all the different departments in the DPW. We did a bike rodeo at RP Connor, which the mayor came up with me and joined me on. Saturday, we gave out free helmets to all our kids that didn't have any. On this Thursday, we'll be doing a community event with several of the officers here. We will be doing our DARE program barbecue at the Connor School for approximately 900 people, students, families, staff. So we obviously ordered I think I just cleaned out Restaurant Depot and everything they had. Come out of burgers and outdoor, we cleaned them out. So a great community event at Connor School. You're all invited up all day long. And we also did a commercial vehicle enforcement check with the New York State Department of Transportation. We took several trucks off the road, made a bunch of arrests, and issued a bunch of summonses for safety violations. Some of the trucks had no brakes, very dangerous trucks out on the road. We took them out of service last week with a 6-hour check. And Mayor and Board, and that is it, and I want to thank you for your support. And Gina, welcome aboard, and I wish you the best of luck here in the village, and if we can help in any way, you please reach out.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'm gonna let these officers walk out, so they can stay if they want, but if they can stay,
Let them stay for just 2 seconds, and I say something here. You guys hear me? There we go. It is critical with the VTL truck enforcement. I know that you do it about 4 times a year. That pulls off dangerous vehicles off the roads of the Village of Suffern. That trucks that transit through the village, are identified to be a hazard to the roadway or to other vehicles. So we're able to capture that and take them off the road. Great job for that. The Memorial Day Parade and barbecue was a big event here, and the police department played a big role in that also. Thank you to DARE for the donations of all the hot dogs and hamburgers. That was great. The bike rodeo was another safety important feature here in the village to the youth of Connor School to ensure the safety, and they donated, I believe, 30 helmets. Did you say 30 helmets to people, children in need of helmets? Another great thing that our Suffern Police Department does. Keep up the great work, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Board. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Got it? Got enough room?
Yeah. Okay, we're going to jump off from number 6 to number 8 to the public hearing. It is now 7:27. It's a public hearing to consider amending the Code of the Village of Suffern, Section 244-1, imposition of utility tax, increasing the gross income of utility companies for a 12-month period ending May 31st, 2018 to $5,000. I have a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to recuse myself on this, although it's really a tertiary issue, and there probably isn't,
So you need to speak into the mic?
and
I will be recusing myself as well.
so note for the record, we're leaving the room.
Okay, is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak in regards to this imposition of tax? Okay, so I'll just go on and explain a little bit about it. Pursuant to the authority granted by Village Law 131 of New York State, a tax equal to 1% of the gross income from and after the first day of June 1970 is hereby imposed upon every utility doing business in the Village of Suffern, which is subject to the supervision of the State Department of Public Service and which has a gross income for the 12 months ending May 31st, 2018, in excess of $5,000, except motor carriers or brokers subject to such supervision under Article 3B of the Public Service Law, and a tax equal to 1% of its gross operating income from and after the first day of June 2018 is hereby imposed upon every other utility doing business in the Village of Suffern, which has a gross operating income for 12 months ending May 31st, 2018, in excess of $5,000, which tax shall have application only within the territorial limits of the Village of Suffern and shall be in addition to any and all other taxes and fees imposed by any other provision of law. You all understand that? So the last time the law was revised was in 1970, so the gross utility tax was much, much less. So if, for instance, we're receiving some utility taxes in the amount of like $1.67 a month. So that, for us to process that check for $1.67 a month, we're losing money. So now we established a rate, we increased the rate to in the excess of $5,000. 1% of $5,000 is $50, which equates to $12.50 a quarter. That would be the minimum gross utility tax based upon their service. Is that more clear?
It used to be 3%.
Okay, so now I have a resolution adopting local law 7. Oh, I'm sorry, closed. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes. I have a resolution adopting local law number 7 of 2018, amending section 244 sub 1, imposition of utility tax. The Board of Trustees adopts local law 7 of 2018, amending section 2441, imposition of utility tax, increasing the gross income of a utility company for a 12-month period ending May 31st, 2018 to $5,000. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Is that Dan standing
I want
there?
to come back.
That's Dan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right there. I'm waving him in.
They want to stay there. That was that.
Okay, on to number 9. It is now 7:32. I'd like to open a public hearing to consider amending the Code of the Village of Suffern, Article 4, adding subsection F to Section 266-N67, currently entitled Formal Application to Add Waiver of Requirement for Live Entertainment. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Mr. Magrino?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Board, and welcome to Ms. Bertolino. How are you? This came about, some businesses in the village wanted to apply for permits for live entertainment. It seemed that the process was a little bit onerous in that an applicant would have to come in, do an application. Before it even got to the village board, it would have to go to the planning board. There was some discussion of taking it completely out of the zoning code, but in looking at it, we felt it was best to leave it in the zoning code, but leave it such that the village board, if somebody wants to get a permit for live entertainment, the application would come in and it would go to the village board. It would go to the building department for review, of course, but the village board could waive the requirement to go to planning board. The applicant would still have to meet the criteria set forth in the code currently for live entertainment. It's under section 266-27K, so it's no change in the criteria. It's not on your papers, but there's no change in the criteria. The village board would still go through the same process. It's just that it would make it a little more streamlined process for the applicant to just come straight to the village board upon referral, again, to the building department, police department, et cetera. And again, it's under certain conditions. I shouldn't say that. The village board can waive the condition that it goes to planning board. So that's really the only change. As you know, I submitted, a memo was submitted from the planning board in respect to the law to maybe have some type of criteria in that regard. That's up to the village board if you wish to add that, but again, it's more to streamline the process. It's not changing the requirements for live entertainment. It's just allowing the applicant to get to this board a little more quickly.
Okay.
That's really what it is.
Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak in regards to live entertainment? Waiver of requirements. This time, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, one addition. I don't know if this was a typo on my part, but in the section, it should be 267A1C, F, A2. There should be a B added in there before C. And I'll speak to the clerk about that, but I just wanted to say that before you voted. And one other thing, Amy, this was sent to county planning, correct?
Correct.
More than 30 days ago?
Yes.
And we don't have anything back from them. So, so we'll take that out. You can take, you could just change, I made the resolution having offered the following comments, so you would say offering no comments within the 30 days. And I have language in there with respect to secra on the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. In front of me, I have the resolution adopting local law 8 of 2018, amending the code of the Village of Suffern.
Excuse me, before we do that, this is a type 2 action under seeker, requiring no further environmental review. Does someone want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, so now I have the resolution adopting local law 8 of 2018, amending the code of the Village of Suffern, Article 4, Section 266, Article 6, adding an additional subsection F, waiver of requirements for live entertainment. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Say it again.
Sorry, that should be H.
Not F, H? H.
Motion.
Discussion also.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a discussion.
Virginia,
Yeah.
with the return of the most recent local law that we sent up, will that change the number for this? To actually be 9?
It'll be 9,
So this should be 9.
local law 9.
with that amendment.
All in favor?
Aye.
With that amendment to local law 9, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay.
And Rob, in the future, we ought to look at the definition of live entertainment because it still says puppeteers and I think carnival barkers.
They're coming back, Dan. It's coming full circle, puppeteers.
How much regulation
Might
do you
want to
want?
update that a little bit.
Okay, next, audience participation. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak? Come on up, state your name and address.
Are we on number 10, Mayor?
We're on,
Yeah, you skipped, no, you skipped
we?
over a public hearing.
Franchise and pay.
Good evening, Bob Morris, 24 Terrace Avenue.
all right, hold on, Mr. Morris. I think
You're practicing right now.
we went out of order on the agenda, I'm sorry.
And I was all ready.
We'll get back to you.
All right.
All right, hold on now.
So we missed fire department?
Yeah, but the fire department's not here.
All right, culture and recreation.
All right, culture and recreation. Where's the local law?
Franchise and pay.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Village Board. Welcome, Gina. We look forward to working with you. Congratulations. So a few things that we have coming up. Yoga in the park. If anyone looked over at the gazebo coming in this evening, we have a nice turnout for the first yoga in the park. That will be all Mondays in June at 6:30. And Nancy from Recreation is going to be giving the yoga classes. So if anyone's available next Monday or any Monday in June, that will be happening across at the gazebo. The nutrition workshop, the morning class on June 5th, which is tomorrow, will be at 10:30 upstairs in the community room. We have Clifford Theater first cast meeting. Since we met last, we have 35 students that have signed up for Clifford Theater this year. So it's a great number. It's bigger than last year. We keep growing the program. So 35 students will be showing Titanic here on August 3rd and August 4th. So keep your calendars open for that. But they're going to be meeting for the first time as a group tomorrow, June 6th at 7 p.m. upstairs in the community room. The nutrition workshop in the evening will be on June 7th at 7:30 in the community room upstairs. Pool registration will be beginning a week from today, Monday, June 11th, and it will be in the community room. All pool registrations is upstairs in the community room. The fishing derby is not this Saturday, but next, June 16th, and registration begins at 9:30. Fishing will be on at 10, and then there's a free barbecue on at the Mawa Elks after fishing. So then the pool opens Saturday, June 23rd, that's coming up, and pool hours for the public to know, Monday through Friday, the pool is open from 12 to 8, and then Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, the pool is open from 11 to 8. If anyone hasn't received a calendar in the mail, we have them up here for you to take if you'd like. And then a few things for discussion. We have, if you could please add, the last meeting I omitted Peter Olivetto and Sean Haggerty. They are our head guards. I did not have them on the original list, but I really would like to have them hired since they're our head guards. So if we can add them to the lifeguard list. Let's get that one. New York City Broadway trip. We are able to get tickets for Pretty Woman, a show on Saturday, November 3rd, so we are looking forward to going to that. And then the summer concerts will begin on June 28th. So the concerts in order of date are South Street Station on June 28th. July 13th, we'll have Country Fresh. July 26th, we'll have Reflections. And then Kirk Gallagher, the children's band, will be on July 30th. Those are all at the gazebo. Sorry? Let me make sure the Kirk Gallagher one I have right. Yeah, July 30th, it's a Monday. And I think that is it.
Okay, so you want to add Paul Olivetto?
Peter Olivetto?
Peter Olivetto.
Yes.
And-
Sean Haggerty.
Okay, so I have a motion to add Peter Olivetto and Sean Haggerty
To the original.
to the original lifeguard list
approved by the village board.
There you go.
No, was it at the, it was
I
at
thought
the
it was, at the
workshop?
workshop.
Yeah, at the workshop
Right.
on,
When was the workshop? What date?
it was last week.
Wednesday,
9/10?
No, it was last week.
It was last Wednesday. Where's our calendar?
Yes,
you
it
looking
was
at the
last
date?
Wednesday.
the 30th.
On May 30th. Do I have a motion?
19.
Motion.
Have a second? All in favor? Aye, motion passes.
Second it for the record.
All right. And then you all in favored it too?
Aye.
Good. Aye. Great. Good job, chief. AC repair. Wow.
I even took my sweater off.
Kathy, once again, the recreation staff did a great job on the Memorial Day Parade. Man, it was unbelievable how many people spoke about the parade.
Thank you very much.
And it was a great job. Please
you.
tell everyone, thank you.
I definitely want, as
Great job.
always, we're so lucky to work with all of our departments together. It was a great
Yeah,
effort with all of us.
it
So
really was.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you. All right, we have to skip to a public hearing now that we missed. It's now 7:45. I'd like to open a public hearing to consider the renewal of the franchise of Cablevision of Rockland and Ramapo in the village of Suffern. Do I have a motion to open a public hearing?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes. Take over there, Mr. Kraushaar.
Okay, the gentleman who I've been dealing with, last year, virtually a year, from Cablevision / Altice, is actually here tonight, and presented to me, executed agreements, by Cablevision Altice, and if you could just, say a few words, I'd appreciate it. And his name is John Delahan.
Good evening, Mayor and the board. Thank you for having me here tonight. So, as Dan said, we've been working on this agreement for a while. We've come to agreement. This is a 10-year term, which allows Cablevision to operate within the village boundaries. We have built out our entitled cable system within our service area within the village. As part of the agreement, we are providing a grant, a PEG grant for public education and government access channels of $21,000 that can be used for technology or PEG equipment to upgrade studio equipment, microphones, whatever.
As you can tell, we need that.
That's why I mentioned it, yes.
21,500.
Please speak
by
into the
way.
mic, yes.
21,500, right. We also settled an outstanding claim for back revenue. Will be coming to the village in $40,000 within 45 days of the fully executed agreement. Those
And,
are...
do you have future plans for a build-out? Have you developed that yet?
We are building out our communities, our entire footprint of fiber to the home, so that's an initiative we're taking on now. It's a 5-year plan. We've started in Long Island. We're doing areas starting to begin in Westchester. We're going to be coming to Rockland soon, but yes, we're going to build out fiber to the home to every house with the capability of up to 1 gig at every single house within our footprint.
I'm sorry, what was the build-out? I really can't hear you.
Fiber to the home, so it's fiber within every
Oh,
single...
fiber, okay.
Right.
All right.
That's right. So it is a 5-year plan. We'll come back to the mayor and to the board here when the time comes to build out our cable system within the village boundaries. It's not, we're just overlash existing fiber. We're not putting up new poles. It's not overly intrusive aesthetically, but we'll come back when the time comes to
So
come
you'd
to the
be
village.
invariably doing trenching in the right-of-way, correct?
There will be a limited amount of trenching, yes.
So that will have to be coordinated with DPW. We pave our own streets, and we do it, on a as-needed basis with, limited resources, but we certainly don't want to have a situation where you're tearing up a road that we just paved. And last week, the board approved its most recent list for the season of roads that were going to be paved. So if we can coordinate that, I think it would be in everyone's best interest.
Yes, agreed. We'll certainly come in and speak to everyone. We'll need police detail, all of those things that are typical. We will come in and speak to the village beforehand.
Very good. All right. Thank you, John. Unless you have anything.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak?
Jim Janatino, 2 Memorial. What's the timetable? Did he give you a timetable on when they're going to do this build-out? Is it over 5 years, 10 years? It's over 5 years. And it's all going to be in the ground, the wiring? Or is it going to be on poles? Okay.
Most of the service here is overhead for cable vision.
Yeah, that's-
With the
I just wanted
except
him to
for like
clarify.
Bon Air and areas like that.
Stonegate?
Right.
URD areas.
Another question, since I brought up poles, what is the big delay in getting your equipment off poles when O&R puts up new poles?
Well,
If you don't mind, John, can you come up to the mic just so we can we can hear you? Thank you.
So the double wood is what we call it. We do have a mechanism that we share with Verizon and also the utility called Engines, which you may be aware of. Sort of tells us who's next to move our facilities. If you tell me if you have locations, cross streets that you have double woods that have been sitting there for a while, you can let me know. I can tell our construction team and they can check the website to see who is next to go. Is it us, the utility, is it Verizon? And we can come back to you and let you know.
Right, we've been coordinating a lot of the
100
double wood
double
poles with the Orange and Rockland utilities.
Yeah, this is, as you're probably well aware, this is not unique to the village of Suffern. This is all over.
Right.
So yeah, we're used to getting these sort of asks to help identify who's next.
What is the process? If O&R moves their equipment, are they supposed to notify you?
Yes, the path typically goes O&R, Verizon, and then cable. But yes, through this Engines website. they let us
Okay,
know.
and are they doing a good job on that? Because it doesn't seem to be.
Well, I can't speak to.
No, I'm just saying, in your experience,
It's been slow. That's why there's.
over 100. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Speaking, hi Carol.
Carol.
Go ahead.
All right, cable, when the pole came down at the base of Pavilion Road in 202, Orange and Rockland put more poles up, and they tightened up their high wire. But there's a cable at the base of the American Legion on 202 that goes right down, just about touching the ground.
Okay, we're gonna have to go out there and identify that cable and then notify the proper utility. We don't know which utility it is, but Mr. Zwicky, can we have someone look at that at the base of Pavilion Road? Cable hanging, is that correct, Carol?
It's hanging, it's right down.
Okay, all right. This is, thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak in regards to the franchise agreement? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing. Have a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Who was that? Who made the motion?
Joe and Moira.
Thank you.
Okay, let me see. I have a resolution authorizing the approval of a new franchise agreement with Altice Cablevision for the Village of Suffern and the mayor to execute same on behalf of the village. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, where are we now?
Audience participation is.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open up to audience participation. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak? Mr. Morris?
Bob Morris, 24 Terrace Avenue, Suffern. I printed out some flyers I'd like to give you guys, if it's okay.
Absolutely.
Just thinking a little bit ahead, one of my things was the ward system. One of my issues is the ward system. We don't really have a dire need for it in Suffern, but as demonstrated in the town of Ramapo, it's something that does prevent abuse in municipal government. It's one of the reasons that it was so heavily fought in the town of Ramapo. And I think if you look through those flyers, take a look, it doesn't seem to be a terribly onerous thing to accomplish. And I think the benefits would prevent any particular group or area in Suffern of taking over the entire municipal government. That's it.
Okay, sounds good. We'll look at that.
Okay? And
Thank you.
Also, I might point out that I'd like to compliment the mayor for his work ethic, going to the gym.
I am buffing up, so
No, I noticed that, but unfortunately, based on your past performance, you're gonna have to swim the English Channel to make up for the Burger Kings that you stop and visit us.
why, thank you for those kind words. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak?
My name is Joe McCulloch. I live on 10 Bridge Street in the village of Suffern. Two things. First, about a year ago, I brought up to the board what the fences look like at the Salvation Army, and whoever took the initiative to have them redo that fence along Oakdale Manor. Now it looks clean, there's no trees hanging over it, and I want to thank the board for that. Secondly, the mayor, you did something great by appointing Gina. She's a wonderful person, don't be embarrassed. She has helped me personally through a battle with cancer. I can't thank her enough. And also, I can't thank Clark Osborne for the wonderful job our police department does. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe.
Great.
Joe, can you come to every meeting?
Such a great movie.
Joe, I have to really say that when you brought that to our attention, I immediately gave it to Virginia, and Virginia took care of that issue on Oakdale Manor and the Salvation Army and the fence.
Yeah, they finally put up a nice fence.
Right.
It's clean looking.
Yeah, it sure is. Thank you for bringing that to us, and thank Virginia for doing that.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else here from the public that would like to speak? Okay, then. Grant writer, Mr. Fred Rella.
Good evening, Board, and congratulations, Gina. Thank you. I got a few items. As you know, we were awarded $250,000 for the heavy-duty truck purchase, and it was awarded through DASNY, the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York, and that's a very lengthy process, but I'm very happy to say that since the workshop meeting on Wednesday, we received the grant disbursement agreement from DASNY for this project. So the copies of the agreement have to be executed, so I'll have to review those with Dan, but it looks like we're well on our way to being in a position to purchase the truck. So
Relatively soon?
relatively soon, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, typically, once you reach this stage, it takes about 30 to 45 days.
I think the supervisor for the DPW just walked out, and he's not hearing this good news, except Charles is here. He has the, but Joe really is...
Yeah, Joe Hunt, right?
Joe, we have good news about the truck, the heavy-duty truck.
Right.
Fred, give it to him.
As soon as the minutes are written up by Amy, you can read about it. I don't want to. Ellen Jaffe sent out a solicitation for the state and municipal facilities program. Basically, that has replaced the member item that the Assemblywoman and Senator Carlucci have in place.
Right.
And we received the maximum amount the prior 2 years of $250,000, one of those being the heavy-duty truck, the other being the digestive boiler project. So by June 22nd, we have to put in an application. It is competitive, none of this is just,
Right.
Automatic, so we'll have to pick an item and then go for that. I'm very happy to say that I received an email
Tectonic.
since the workshop about a company called Tectonic, which is going to be doing the environmental review for the Wayne Avenue sidewalk project. That's where the sidewalks are being replaced on the north side of Wayne Avenue. We received 2 grants, which total approximately $282,000 for that. So that's very, very good. And Charles Sawicki is going to be coordinating that effort with Tectonic. The Community Development Block Grant Program, which is HUD money, the federal money goes to the county, then you compete with the municipalities within the county for the funds. And we put in this year for a $175,000 project, which is the repaving of parking lot B, which is the parking lot right across from the post office. And they're going to be making the announcements of the awards by the end of the month. Okay? And then finally, I'm going to be attending a consortium meeting for the Community Development Block Grant. It was a special meeting that was called for this Thursday, and I'll be representing the municipality for that. So
Yes.
that's it.
Great. I hope we get that $175,000 to repave the B lot. That will be a home run.
Yes.
Thank you for all the work, Fred. Okay, Mr. Menschner, the village clerk.
What do we have?
What do you have? Let's see what we have. Okay. Want me to read it?
Read it.
Okay. Okay, I have a resolution accepting the bid from Gene Henley to operate the Memorial Pool concession stand during the 2018 summer session. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes. I believe this is Jean's 3rd year.
It is.
Yep, she's doing a great job. Okay, next.
Resolution.
Hold on. Okay, the next resolution that Virginia has is a resolution authorizing Mitchell Moe to hold a block party on Sunday, July 1st, 2018 on West Maltby Avenue between the hours 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Charles Zawicki, Department of Public Works. You can tell this is the busiest department in the village because of the length of the agenda.
Good evening. As an update, the South Street Pump Station Emergency Generator Project will be publicly advertised this week. The Village of Suffern has developed a cost-sharing agreement with O&R Utilities for the roadway disturbance by sewer main, or I'm sorry, by gas main replacement projects from last fall. I happen to have Michael Casal and Trish Austin are here. They're prepared to talk about, what has been done.
Sure, absolutely.
What the plans are for the future.
Yes, Mr. Casal, Ms. Austin, if you wouldn't mind coming on up, and I guess Mike's taking it on his own.
Before they get there,
Would like Mr. Kraushaar and Mr. Russo to recuse themselves?
we are going to...
Okay. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Expect some ice cream.
I'll do you. Okay.
All right, welcome, Mr. Casal.
Thank you, Mayor. Just let me start by saying I, too, have noticed you've been working out, and you look great.
Why, thank you.
So as Mr. Sawicki mentioned, it's a cost-sharing agreement that we like to enter into the town, to villages and municipalities that we do work with. Basically, this is an agreement that we come to share in the, where we enter into agreement with the village that, or its municipalities, that they do the restoration for our projects and we contribute and pay for that. The reason why we enter these agreements is because it's more cost-effective for the ratepayers and the taxpayers. In that Orange and Rockland Utilities is a gas and electric company. I'm in the gas department, that's why I start with gas first instead of saying, like most people, electric and gas. But this is in to do the road restoration for gas main replacement. We're not a restoration company, we're a gas main replacement company, an electric company. Therefore, our rates to pay a vendor or a contractor to do the restoration are quite high. By entering into these agreements, this is a way where we can minimize the cost because the village and the municipalities get a much better rate. So we identify the streets that we've done the work on. If you notice, we've been out on, we go out on certain streets. I do like to say that the temporary restoration that we do when we're done is that in itself temporary. We wait for settlement, enter into this agreement, and then the town comes out with their contractor and paves the roads that we just disturbed.
That sounds good. Maybe you could speak a little bit about the gas main replacement itself that has been going on throughout the village and the road disturbances that we have endured.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're right.
Okay.
We do endure. We understand, the company understands when we do come into these areas that it's a great disturbance to the town, the village, and all the neighborhoods, all right? So my department, we manage the gas main replacement projects, as I said. We have an aggressive plan with Suffern. We were out on Lafayette, Wayne Avenue over the last couple of years, and we're constantly working with Charles and his group and the mayor to identify locations where we want to upgrade our mains going forward. So we do have a 3 to 5 year plan in place. So we're going to be going into local areas. Last year we were on the Boulevard. This year we're looking at Ramapo Lane and some other areas. And I thought it was a good opportunity to come here and explain to the board and everyone else kind of what to expect from Orange and Rockland when we do come into this area. So I'll be the first one to say that when we do go in the area, we understand that it's an inconvenience. We contract the work out. We don't, and these contractors are vetted through our system. They provide the best rate, and they're all certified with us, right? So we do use these contractors to go out and dig up these roads. It's a long planning process, and we do talk to the municipalities to identify, and we work kind of in collaboration to identify roads that will need restoration ultimately. And we kind of plan and strategically plan for that. What I can tell you is that when we do go out and do these main replacement projects, but prior to going out and starting the work, we identify a project manager that's an O&R employee, and he distributes letters to everybody kind of explaining what the project is and that, you know, they can expect to be impacted in the coming months. In that letter, what we do is give you a personal contact to reach out to someone if you have any questions about the project itself. So that's just one of the things you can expect from us. Got my notes here, so. In addition to the letter and the contact, we do put a inspector on every job every day for the whole day. So he's not only do we have the contractors doing the installation, but we have somebody who represents the company watching the work to make sure that we don't impact the neighborhood as badly as we know we could. One thing I will say, so we do notify all the customers when we're going to interrupt their service. Meaning that when we put the new gas main in, we want to replace your service, right? And the reason why we're replacing these services and these mains is because it's an aging infrastructure. By us coming in and creating this, this inconvenience for a few months, What it's really doing is establishing a more robust system where we won't have to come back for 30 to 40 years. So when you look at it from a 3 to 4 month inconvenience as opposed to not being inconvenienced anymore for 40 years or so, there's a great benefit to it. So when we do go out and replace these services to your home, we will dig up on the property. We try to always take the approach to minimize the impact to your property. So if we have to dig a trench, we'll do that. If we have to dig certain pits, like we like to call them, and use your old service as a conduit, we'll do that. But we always take a look at each and every one's property to make sure we don't impact it as too much. In addition to that, we do have a landscape contractor who will go out and we will topsoil, seed, and kind of replace lichen con. Okay? If there's bushes or anything that you're concerned about, before we replace your service, a representative from the project will talk to you first. So we coordinate everything with the customer from the very beginning. So we won't just go out and do it without you knowing it. If you have any concerns or anything like that, at that time you can talk to the inspector and they can come up with an alternate plan. Okay, finally, when we do finish the project, some projects last a month, others last longer. When we do finish the project, every day when we lay main in the road, we do what we call a binder cap, and we go flush with that. I think it's important for everyone to understand that that's temporary. And the reason why I say that is because why we do it is we wait for the ground to settle. So we tamp and we do all kinds of compaction, but the earth moves, things happen, and there can be some settling. That's when you ride on the road and it gets a little bumpy. What we do is, we work with the town, we send the inspectors around periodically to check, to make sure that if that does occur, we do some temporary fill along the way. It's important for the customers, and we like to express to everybody to keep that contact information, because even if we've left and that road is a little wonky, you do have that contact to reach out to explain, express your concerns, and we'll respond directly to it. But that's, and I always say this, it's not a bad thing to see some of that, because that means the earth is settling properly. It's from that point on, which, we let that settle for a few months, and once that's done, that's when we either enter in a sharing agreement, like I mentioned, or we'll come out and pave as well. But that's when the final restoration comes, and we do a little mill and pave and a final restoration. And then the job's complete. And like I said, I know we're out there and it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but I think it's important to understand that the end result, the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, is that you have an improved structure underground. We won't have to come out and disturb you for years ahead, and then the road looks fantastic when it's done.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that explanation. It's a necessary evil to say that it has to be done. But in the long run, as you said, over the course of 30 or 40 years or whatever it may be, that the infrastructure is strong and sound underground. Absolutely. And then that, we are receiving a newly paved road, yes, which benefits the public. So, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could I ask you one question?
Sure.
Could I ask you one question?
Yeah.
You mentioned that if an Orange and Rockland customer had an issue or a complaint or a notification, they can call into you.
Yes.
Is there a mandated time period for you to respond?
So while there's no mandated time period, we have a general rule internally within 24 hours. I can tell you that that's actually on the long side. We try to, so this is how we look at it, really. I'm in construction, basically. When you really think about it, my department, we handle all the contractors for underground excavation. While people look at us as a utility company, and that's true, we're really a construction company. And anytime you go into construction, especially digging anything underground and the unknowns, issues are going to come up, and they do, they occur. While we do a great job of planning, we can't foresee every problem that we do have. I can tell you this, my department, and the one thing that I enforce is our response. And that's where we pride ourselves on, is responding immediately. So you have, you can reach out to and that's why it's important we give you the letter. We try to keep it personal, with a personal letter, a name, and a number for someone you can directly call. You will hear someone within 24 hours at the latest. So there is no internal measure to say how quickly, but that's an emphasis for us. And I should say for Orange and Rockland, for Saucony in total, is that, it's customer satisfaction.
So do we get that same notification? Do you provide that to Mr. Sawicki? I know you said that there's a project manager that would work with him.
Yeah.
But the same notification that you give out to the residents with who they can call, the number they can call, when we can be provided
Yes,
with that
absolutely.
also? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And we walk projects now where we're very much in discussions about projects we're doing this year and looking forward to next year and the year ahead. So we'll plan it, we'll actually walk projects now, you'll see us walking up and down the street, discussing all the aspects of the job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Good. I just have a quick question, not for you because you're guest, and I know Trish may have an answer. I'm not sure. Someone brought up about double wood here in the village. Can you give us like some sort of update on that or process that we're in? Sure, if you don't mind.
See, Trish, he was gonna get you down here one way or the other.
I know it was a surprise, but I know we spoke about it a couple times.
This is where the gas people like myself say, that's the electric bill.
That's...
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I'd be happy to give you an update. So double wood, as you know, throughout the town and certainly throughout Rockland County is an ongoing issue. As Regional Community Affairs Manager for Orange and Rockland, my territory covers the town of Ramapo as well as the town of Orangetown. In the town of Ramapo in particular, including the municipalities within the town, I think we have remediated almost 2,000 double wood instances over the last maybe 3.5 years, which is pretty tremendous. However, with every motor vehicle accident, there's a new pole that needs to be set. Certainly we have some aging infrastructure that needs to be changed out. By way of infrastructure, I mean the utility pole that needs to be upgraded as well. Anytime we're reconductoring, rebuilding some of our distribution lines, that too will be cause for newer poles. There is a system in place whereby once we have identified a project, we will set the pole, we transfer our facilities. A notification then is an automatic notification through a system, computer system notifies Verizon, and once they're off, once they've transferred, then Cablevision is notified to transfer as well. So essentially Cablevision has about 60 days to transfer. The trick of all this and the challenge really lies in the fact that well, there's a lot of challenges, but let me think of the one I want to share with you is that we have a number of other utilities that don't transfer as quickly as we would like them to, which, we end up having to be responsible for by way of continued notification to those other utilities, which are Verizon and Cable. The challenge really is holding folks accountable now and again and to move on something. But move on something, what I mean is have them transfer as quickly as possible. We'll likely never get rid of the double pole situation. It'll probably never, ever go away, but we do our best to keep up on it. Many of the poles are owned by us, many of the poles are owned by Verizon. We do work in concert with Verizon. Whenever there's a double pole instance, if it's a hazard issue, certainly I work with Charles and others in the village to get those hot button poles removed. If there's something that you see that you're not sure about, whether or not it could cause an issue, by all means, you can not only report it on your own, but certainly bring it to the attention of the village, and they'll notify me, and I'm happy to get someone to come out and take a look at it. So, I don't know if I answered.
No, that was good. No,
Was that too much?
public, some people talk about it, and then just a brief, what is the system that we use for the lights out when the portal?
Oh,
So
the
if you could talk a little,
municipal
just
streetlight portal.
briefly about the portal to let the residents know that there is a
Sure.
portal that is, I guess, operated by the police.
Yes,
Right.
actually, Chief Osborne, there you
Yep.
are. So Orange and Rockland instituted a municipal streetlight portal probably about 4 or 5 years ago that is utilized by many municipalities. Not all of them have adopted this, but it's a real easy way for residents to report to their municipality that they notice that there's a street light out. And then, or in this instance, Chief Osborne and his folks, while driving around at night, will go ahead and make note of a particular light that's no longer bright or that is in need of repair. If you see a light that is in need of repair, there are 5 numbers over 5 numbers. And those numbers are instrumental to us being able to locate the repair. We don't know when a street light is out unless you report it. In addition to that, if you don't have in the instance of a storm-related situation, and after a storm is settled and you notice that something has occurred with the light, naturally don't get close to anything, especially if you see down wires, but you can provide Chief Osborne or Orange and Rockland the nearest location to that streetlight, a house number, along with a cross street, which is also very useful information for us to identify and have the repair submitted through the streetlight portal. Also, 2 separate, street but just things to consider. The distribution lines that you see out on the street, and a street light near it or on the same pole as distribution means that light is fed overhead by the overhead system. In many of the newer developments, there are no pole numbers on the light posts, and those are fed underground. Now you can report that. You can report the same as you would the overhead streetlight repair request to Chief Osborne. However, just keep in mind that repair may take longer because that means that there could very well be a fault in the underground facility that feeds that streetlight. So sometimes we'll dispatch a crew, they'll go out and repair it during the day, and then we get someone reporting the streetlight out again. So two different ways that streetlights are fed.
Thank you very much.
Anything else you'd like to know? I come from Wisconsin. I can share with you.
Did you ever go cow tipping?
Of course. When I was young enough to run away. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, just real quickly, with the portal, we work very well. Tricia's been excellent. We sign officers every Sunday into Monday network. There's an officer specifically signed that goes in every street. You always go down the street, but their job is to mark down lights go out, we can win on Mondays generally, and
Right.
you know, we're all excellent keeping up on this. So that's how our system works.
Great. Thank you very much. That's good for the public to be aware of, that we have that portal and that relationship. Just right. Thank you. Where are they?
Next page.
All right. All right, let us skip over to the road restoration agreement, Charles, so these guys don't have to keep running back and forth. Mr. Magrino, if we can get into that, let me pull the resolution. Hold on, I have to find it. You have it? I don't have it. Do you have the resolution, or?
I have it handy.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to speak to it?
Well, just briefly, as the representatives from Orange and Rockland indicated, and Mr. Sawicki, they negotiated and came up with a number in terms of once it gets to the point where it's time for the roads to be fully restored, the village will perform that function, either ourselves or with a contractor, and Orange and Rockland will, reimburse us or share in the cost of that. It makes sense, as they indicated, because ultimately there are roads in any event, so they're paying us for it. It's, no additional cost to the village, and we have some control over how the roads ultimately look. So the resolution is there. Did you want me to go through it, or you have?
Briefly, yeah, just touch on it. Yes.
Well, it's just basically saying that O&R will perform its work in closing trenches and preparing the road for further and final remediation, and the village will complete the work of restoring the roadway, as more set forth fully in the agreement. They've agreed to pay the sum of $220,829 to complete the restoration of the certain roadways that are listed in the agreement. So I'm just asking for someone, if the board will adopt the resolution, resolve that the mayor or his designee is authorized to sign a road restoration agreement with O&R whereby the village will undertake to complete restoration of certain village streets that will be disturbed by O&R as part of its work in providing utility services to village residents, and O&R will reimburse the village in the amount of $220,829, representing the cost of the village to perform and complete this work on village streets.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, motion passes. Okay, Mr. Zawicki, sorry about that.
Okay.
I think we were at the GOSA project update.
Yeah, GOSA New York Rising project, met with their staff, their engineer, their project management team, and they are finalizing the design drawings and shall have the 100% design drawings completed within a month. And those projects include the MCC replacement and floodproofing at the wastewater treatment plant, emergency generator at the DPW garage and at Village Hall, well houses number 2 and 4, the raising pump and motors, and the replacement of the superstructure.
Okay.
Now, Wayne Avenue, Fred had touched on that. We just received essentially was a fact sheet that needed to be filled out, and Fred and I worked together to get that out today. So we're hopeful that that environmental clearance that is required by the Community Development Block Grant will proceed shortly, and subsequently we could start our work.
Okay.
The infrastructure on infrastructure modifications on Orange Avenue and Chestnut as part of the Orange Avenue apartment project They are installing additional storm sewer and modifying the storm sewer system, installing some basins and some conveyance system. That is not totally done as of yet, but will be done shortly.
They need to definitely look at that restoration, that was unacceptable.
Yeah, we have been in contact with them, and I'll reach out to them again tomorrow.
Okay.
The this Wednesday, at 10 o'clock, the mayor has set up a meeting with the association presidents at Bon Air, Stonegate, to discuss the signage replacement. And again, that'll be held this Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. We have started our hydrant flushing, water main flushing. That started Sunday night. It'll continue again tomorrow night and Thursday night.
No complaints? I don't think we received any. Virginia? No.
No complaints.
No? Good. We did a big notification drive.
With a hydrant that they were unable to totally shut it down, get the valve closed in the hydrant, and they had to actually take it out of service.
Oh.
But that was the only issue that I'm aware of.
Very good.
They made very good production, very productive, able to get a number of hydrants done. We will be sending out and revise. We did send out an area identifying the streets that would be done this week. We will be sending out a revised list tomorrow because we did so well on Sunday night.
Good.
So we're gonna have to be probably.
I think the notification was critical, you know? I mean, we really hit it hard, and keeping the public informed of what's going on will help us in the future with that also. For everything, actually.
All right, I am requesting authorization to solicit bids for roadway improvements project. Bids would be due June 21st at 3 p.m.
So I have the resolution authorizing Charles Zawicki to publicly advertise for bid solicitations for roadway improvement project Phase 9. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay.
I am requesting a payment authorization for application payment number 6 for Hauser Brothers, Inc. for the wastewater treatment plant digester boiler replacement project in the amount of $17,100.
I have a resolution authorizing payment number 6 to Hauser Brothers, Inc. for the wastewater treatment plant digester boiler project. I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I am requesting the board to establish the position of laborer, seasonal laborer, pending Rockland County personnel approval. I'm not sure where that stands. We need to get that,
Hold on, let me
create
see.
that position. Is that where?
We're just establishing it tonight?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just that.
How many positions?
Positions, 2.
Yeah, it'd be 2 seasonal labor positions that we're looking to fill.
I know.
2.
It
Yeah.
doesn't say 2.
No, I'm putting 2. So I have a resolution establishing the position of laborer.
Can I say something? I think Joanne had 3 on there, but we can choose to fill 2.
But it doesn't, okay, so,
But that was for
I
the
think-
temporary.
I think once you do that, they'll let you do more than what you...
So you can put 3.
be resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby establishes 3 positions of laborer seasonal effective June 4th, 2018, pending approval by Rockland County Department of Personnel. Have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Good.
Now, I know we have two candidates. Are we going to need to wait on that?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So K, L, and M, we're going to have further discussion this week on. Okay?
Okay. All right, so, the next item here, would be the requesting, authorization to solicit bids for the ADA ramps, required by the New York State DOT, CHIPS reimbursement, roadway improvement reimbursement.
Yeah, but I think we need to further discuss it at length. Yeah, so K, L, and M, we'll just,
Okay.
we'll discuss during the week,
Discuss any more tonight?
unless you have something else.
No. That's it. Okay, I think that should do it for me.
Okay, great.
All right,
Thank you. Oh, man. Okay, next, the treasurer. The treasurer is not with us this evening. So we have the findings of the independent auditor's report for fiscal year end, May 31st, 2018. The village treasurer and I met with the village independent auditors, Barad and Associates, to review the auditor's findings regarding the audit of our fiscal year end, May 31st, 2017. I'm pleased to report that the finances of the village as regards to the general fund and water fund continue to improve, while the sewer fund continues to be a concern as regards to meeting its expenditures and appropriate stream of revenue. Our audited financial statements have been published and are within the 12-month time frame required to comply with continuing disclosure. Normally, we would expect our independent audit to be complete within 6 months following the end of our fiscal year. But as you know, the village board determined last year that it was in the best interest of the village to issue a request for proposal for auditing services to cover fiscal year ending May 31st, 2017, 2018, and 2019. As a result of the time required to complete the RFP process and selection, our new auditor, Barad and Associates, began the fiscal year-end May 31st, 2017 audit in January 2018 and completed the audit on April 30th, 2018. We fully anticipate that the audit for fiscal year ending May 31st, 2018 and future audits will be completed within the 6 months following the end of the fiscal year. Okay, next I have Moody's Investor Service Upgrade, which is good news for the village. We are pleased to announce that Moody's Investor Services has upgraded our credit rating from a Baa1, which is just below, hold on.
No, you can.
I got it the wrong way. Upgraded our credit rating to a Baa1, which is just below an A rating. Moody's also gave us a positive outlook, which means that if we continue on our road to financial improvement, we are being considered for the future upgrades in the next 12 to 18 months. When I took office, our village has been designated the most fiscally stressed village in New York State. Our credit rating of Baa3, just above junk grade, reflected this dire situation. So we increased 2 upgrades by them, which is great. The unusual upgrade of 2 full notches to Baa1 and Moody's positive outlook demonstrates the value of the village's financial recovery plan, as well as the stewardship and commitment of the board and I have made to stay course despite the difficult challenges and decisions we had to make. I think that's great news here for the village, and we'll continue on that course. That's great. All right, let's see, next. Next, I have a resolution in front of me authorizing the approval of workers' compensation insurance coverage with, is this the right one? Hold on. Yes, resolution authorizing the approval of workers' compensation insurance coverage with Public Employees Risk Management Association, PERMA, for the village of Suffern for a term running from June 1st, 2018 to June 1st, 2019. Yeah. So whereas the village insurance agent, Scirocco Group, has reviewed the village's workers' compensation insurance coverage for a period of June 1st, 18 through June 1st, 19, and his recommendation of the village insurance agent that the village renew its workers' compensation insurance coverage for a period of 6/1/18 through 6/1/19 with Public Employees Risk Management Association. Whereas the village was further realized an approximate 3.5 cost saving over the period of the year's insurance coverage. Board of Trustees in the Village of Suffern hereby agree to renew its workers' compensation insurance coverage for a period of June 1st, 2018 through June 1st, 2019 with Public Employees Risk Management Association at a total annual cost of $546,000. $546,085. Non-pro-tunc. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Next, I have a resolution authorizing the approval of insurance coverage with Allied World Assurance Company, Inc. for the Village of Suffern for a term running from June 12th, 2018 to June 12th, 2019. Whereas the village insurance agent, Scirocco Group, has reviewed the village's various liability coverage for a period of 6/12/18 to 6/12/19. And whereas the recommendation of the village's insurance agent that the village renew its various liability coverage for a period of 6/12/18 through 6/12/19 with Allied World Assurance Company. Whereas the village further realized an approximate 4.1% cost savings over the prior year's insurance coverage without the loss of any required terms. Do I have a motion? Oh, excuse me. Therefore, the Board of Trustees in the Village of Suffern hereby agrees to renew the various liability coverage for a period 6/12/18 through 6/12/19, or until sooner terminated or replaced with Allied World Assurance Company, Inc., at the total annual cost of $174,052. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. I'm getting tired of reading.
You want to hold up a minute?
Okay. What are we going to do when they don't make cassette tapes anymore?
Oh, we bought them all out.
Oh, we bought them all out, okay.
We did.
Yeah.
At the cost, it was cheap.
We got a $21,500 grant tonight. I think it could be replaced.
We're going to buy $21,000 worth of cassette tapes.
No, just a new tape recorder that doesn't use those cassette tapes.
All right. Are we good to go?
No.
No?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, next I have a resolution to adopt a comprehensive financial policy document. Whereas over time, the Village of Suffern has adopted an investment policy, a procurement policy, and a capital asset policy. And whereas it is sound financial management to adopt financial policies related to budget preparation and adoption, debt management, expenditure, expense management, village credit cards issued to employees, operating positions, and revenue management. Whereas the village treasurer has compiled a set of said financial policies into a single comprehensive financial policy document to facilitate the periodic review, amendment, distribution, and implementation of such financial policies. Now therefore be resolved, the Village Board of the Village of Suffern does hereby adopt a comprehensive financial policy document and the financial policies presented therein. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Oh my God. Next, I have a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the equitable sharing agreement and certification form for fiscal year end May 31st, 2018. Whereas the U.S. Department of Justice and the U.S. Department of the Treasury has mandated requirements concerning the sharing of federal forfeiture proceeds, and whereas those requirements include the submission of an equitable sharing agreement and certification form executed by the mayor, and whereas the chief of police has submitted to the mayor and board of trustees copies of the equitable sharing agreement and certification form for fiscal year end May 31st, 2018, completed by the Chief of Police and the Village Treasurer. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the equitable sharing agreement and certification form for submission for fiscal year end, May 31st, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Oh my God, is it ever gonna end here? All right, let's see. Have a motion here transferring 2018-2019 funds from the general liability insurance to Board of Trustees contractual. Whereas the estimated cost is, the Village and Board of Trustees desires to engage in the services of communications consultants and to develop and manage the release of official Village of Suffern public information in a consistent and timely manner across various medias. Whereas the estimated cost of such service is $2,000 per month, and whereas there are sufficient funds in the amount of $24,000 available in the general fund liability insurance appropriation. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes. Next, I have a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a settlement agreement with Verizon concerning gross utilities receipts earned within the Village of Suffern. That the Board of Trustees of the Village of Suffern authorizes the mayor to sign the settlement agreement with Verizon, in which Verizon will remit $1,500 additional utility user tax to the Village of Suffern for all periods up until including March 31st, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes.
The next one we're gonna wait on.
Okay, letter I, we're going to postpone till we have further information and the treasurer can speak to those points. Next, 16, the attorney, Mr. Magrino.
You did A, so we can
Yes.
do B. Just with respect to B, I'm just going to add to the resolution circulation pursuant to the general municipal law, that's with respect to changing loading zones. And secret, it's, I believe, within 500 feet of Route 59 where we're proposing to do this, right? Presumably. So we would have to do the circulation. So that resolution as exists with a circulation pursuant to GML 239 LNM. That's it.
So I have the
I'm sorry, we're within 30 days, so I'll try to speak to county planning as we get closer to the date, but we may have to postpone that July 2nd meeting.
So do you still want to create the public hearing?
We can either leave it on for the 2nd, and if we get it, we get it. If we don't, we can put it to August, or if you just want to set the August meeting now, that's fine. I don't know the urgency.
Because I think, Rob, we started off with the loading zones, and we also want to take a look at handicap parking locations and 15-minute parking locations. So maybe it's best to postpone.
You want to put it in for August, and I'm not going to be here July 2nd anyway, so if you want to do the August meeting, that would make sense.
All right, so you just want to, do we want to set it now for August?
Yeah, if you could.
We don't have an August meeting.
An August meeting we have don't have an August workshop.
So the August meeting would be the 6th.
Oh,
Okay.
Is that all right with you, Rob?
That's.
Let me check the 6th. The 6th.
So then that'll give me time to get together with Amy and
7:05.
just a couple of those.
Okay, so, to authorize a public hearing to be held on August 6, 2018 at 7:05 to propose amending Chapter 254 vehicles in traffic, Article 3, parking, standing, and stopping. Is that correct?
right, regarding loading zones, handicap parking, and 15-minute parking.
I have a motion.
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Ms. Hertzman. There you go. That's you.
I didn't realize we were advancing that quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Just briefly, the Daniel Beard Committee is going to be meeting on June 11th at 7 p.m. here at the Village Hall, and that's to finalize plans that the Boy Scouts will be undertaking through the Brooklands area. Second to that, I had a great meeting with Joe Hunt at the DPW, and we drove around to quite a few locations within the village, and we're hoping to put together plans and costs and potential projects for improvements throughout the village. We've looked pretty closely at Foxwood Pond, Lake Antrim, and a couple of other smaller, more easy projects that would make the village look a lot cleaner and neater and more welcoming to everyone. So we're hoping that that will progress quickly.
Sounds good. Anything else? Mr. Russo?
Yes, so I've been working with the New York State DOT about the intersection of Washington and Lafayette Avenue with the traffic light during peak hours. They changed the timing to from 30 seconds to 50 seconds on Washington Avenue. They're going to try that temporarily, and we're going to reconvene at a meeting to see how that went. I have to schedule a meeting this week with them, and we're still trying to work through getting the delayed green, but this gives Washington Avenue traffic an additional 20 seconds to flow. So, the Mayor, I'll be calling you this week to set up a meeting. That's all I have.
Yeah, but that's all next. All right, thank you, Joe. I failed to bring forth the resolution authorizing the 2018 Summer Concert Series bands. So I have a resolution in front of me here. Contracts were submitted to the Coordinator of Culture and Recreation by South Street Band, Country Fresh, Reflections, and Kurt Gallagher to provide musical performances as entertainment for the village for the Suffern Summer Concert Series. As followed: South Street Band, June 28th, $600. Country Fresh, June 13th, $650. July 13th. Reflections, July 26th, $600. Kurt Gallagher, July 30th, $350. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay.
You're gonna have that list. Thank you.
Okay, next up is the Suffern Code Initiative. Oh, that's next. What are you doing? Suffern Code Initiative. See something, say something. The Suffern No-Knock Program Communications. I am pleased to announce the Village of Suffern Code Initiative, which was officially implemented in April, is off to a successful start and will continue to be vigorously enforced throughout the summer months and beyond. The Village Board and I created this Suffern Code Initiative as a way to enhance the village's position as a premier place to live, work, and raise a family. It is designed to provide a safe, desirable living and working environment for all Suffern residents and businesses. That is why I'm taking a proactive approach to combating code, housing, and fire safety issues throughout the village. The summer is fast approaching, and the warmer weather will bring more activity in the village, and I want all of our residents and guests to enjoy everything the village has to offer in the best environment possible. Several local communities continue to struggle with code enforcement issues, but I remain determined to minimize the ultimate and and to ultimately eliminate any such issues in Suffern. Therefore, I will be communicating with residents of Suffern neighborhoods in the coming weeks to outline the specifics of the code initiative. I will also be meeting with neighborhood watch groups to discuss the code enforcement initiatives and code enforcement concerns that were raised by these groups. This is a very important issue. We have all seen how lack of code enforcement can change and harm a community. Protecting the health, property, and quality of life in our village by fairly and impartially enforcing codes and other ordinances remains one of my primary objectives. I encourage everyone who has questions about property maintenance, zoning regulations, code enforcement, and fire safety to call Village Hall at 357-2600. I also ask that if you see something, you suspect a code violation, then say something. We can all do our part to help maintain the quality of life in our village. So that's an initiative that we're undertaking here, and we are going to continue to...
I want to make a copy of it.
All right, you make a copy of it. Then we also have...
Mayor, if I could say one
Yes.
thing, it did get raised up during the workshop that Novartis property had not been landscaping at all. So I did speak with code enforcement, and they had already been in contact with the owners along with the Village of Montebello. And I did notice today that parts of the property, the more public area where the main drive
Was
is...
cut?
It's cut. Could use a good rake, but...
Actually, our code enforcers did walk the property with the Montebello code enforcer. Right, so it worked, I guess. Okay, very good.
It's improved.
Yes.
There's still a lot more that needs to be done, but the most public area,
But we need the community, we need people out there in the village to relay this information to us. You know, if you see something out there and you don't call or you don't do anything about it, and we don't catch it, it goes unchecked. That's why we need your help. I also have here the do not knock policy. Hold on now. There you go. So once again, I'm pleased to announce the Village of Suffern no-knock policy, which is part of the Suffern Code Initiative project, will continually to be vigorously enforced as the summer approaches. Warmer weather will generally bring more foot traffic to the village, such as traffic often includes peddlers and solicitors. Suffern's no-knock policy is designed to prevent intrusions on homes and businesses from unwanted canvassers. Suffern Local Law Number 6 of 2017 was amended to redefine canvassers and solicitors as vendors who go from door to door offering for sale or taking orders for present or future delivery of merchandise. Canvassers and solicitors under the current definition also include those who are conducting surveys for research purposes, analysis, opinion polls, or rating data. Real estate brokers, energy providers, and those selling utility services are deemed to be canvassers or solicitors for the purpose of this law. So we have all of this information that's up on our website, and I urge you all to take a look at it, look at the policy, call us if you have any concerns in regards to no-knock or in regards to any type of code violation that you may suspect is a violation. Something you may suspect may not be a violation, but it's always good to give us a call. You want that to make a copy? Okay.
I'll make sure you...
Virginia's making copies. All right, thank you. All right, now. We have a resolution authorizing Frederick J. Rella to provide grant application services to the Village of Suffern. That the village agrees to pay the consultant for professional services rendered in the sum of $50,000 payable on an annualized basis as a monthly sum of $4,166.66. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
He does a good job.
Fred does an excellent job. Thank you, Fred. Next, I have a resolution reappointing Robert Yodowitz as village prosecutor for the Village of Suffern on a contract basis effective August 1st, 2018 through August 31st, 2019. July 2019. Whereas Robert Yodowitz has been practicing attorney in New York State for over 25 years and is a trial attorney specializing in the defense of various civil litigations and matters. Whereas Robert Yodowitz has served the Village of Suffern as a prosecutor for vehicle and traffic and zoning violations with distinction, and whereas the Board of Trustees desires to continue its contract with him on a said service, which is set to expire on July 31st, 2018. Therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby reappoints Robert Yodowitz to the position of Village Prosecutor for a period August 1st, 2018 through July 31st, 2019 on a flat fee basis of $1,500 per month, subject to the execution of a formal contract for said services. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes. Next, I have a resolution authorizing Tombra Media, Inc. to develop and implement and maintain communication program for the Village of Suffern. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next, I have a, Joe here? Joe's here. Next, I have a resolution authorizing Suffern downtown flower pots and planting budget. The Board of Village of Suffern authorizes Suffern downtown flower pots and planting budget in the amount of not to exceed $400. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Joe and Sandy Stead for helping out. Great job. Yes, sir. I think we have to stick to the strict budget. Yeah. We still have to stay within the restrictions of the budget. Thank you, Joe. Great job. Thank you all for coming out to this. Oh, what are you?
The Justice
more?
Court.
Oh, my God.
Don't you have?
Oh, yeah, well, that, we have something, we have F on here, which was the removal of the Justice Court title from the collective bargaining agreement that we're working on. We're working closely with the CSEA president, and we'll be developing that. Can't talk anymore, I'm sorry. We're working on it with the CSEA president. Enough said. Thank you. Motion to close.
No,
Oh,
adjourn.
I can't talk. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much for coming out to this long meeting.
What time is it?
Gina, what have you done to us?
What time is it?